Okay, thank you. Okay. So we need a motion to come out of executive session?
Yes.
Okay. Rosanna, did you hear? Jerry just made a motion to come out of executive session or police commission. Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now I got to vote to go back into regular?
Regular town?
Close the police commission? Okay, get a motion to close the police commission? Jerry?
Second.
Okay, okay. Now we got a vote to start the meeting, vote to go into the regular meeting? Okay, I don't know, I think we do. Okay, we'll just start with our announcements. Oh, roll call. Okay, on a roll call.
Councilman Dennis Troy, absent. Councilman Tom Divany,
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine. Here. Councilman Jerry Batari. Here. Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
Here. Thank you. Okay, we're going to pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't even have to ask you anymore, Paul. You just take the lead. Okay, so welcome everybody to the town board meeting of June 8th, 2021. We have some announcements. The first announcement is just the announcement of a public hearing for June 22nd regarding the town's local law to opt out of adult use cannabis, marijuana retail dispensers, and on-site consumption sites. We're having a public hearing on July 13th regarding performance standards for the town code related to our ZBA. And then we have a public hearing on July 13th regarding the proposed zone change for BNE Real Estate Group, the Reserve at Pearl River, located on Veterans Drive. I just wanted to add a couple of my own comments. I wanted to just mention that we had the Hungers 5K Heroes Run this weekend. I want to thank Councilman Dennis Troy, who's out here, and Tom Divany for attending and participating. And for we had a lot of people make donations. I want to Councilman Tom Divany made a generous donation, so I want to thank you personally. So we did have a team challenge. I'm not going to say how many team members, but Team Kenny won, just to say that, you know. And I just want to, it was a hot day, and we had a great turnout. I just want to thank the couple of parties that were involved and volunteered. We had the Spark Hill Palisades Fire Department. They had runners and spectators along the course. The Orangetown Auxiliary Police, they did traffic control on Kings Highway and Greenbush Road and for help in Depot Square. We had the Eckert family, both Claire for marking up the trail and her husband for being at the turnaround and giving out water. Joe Prince from the Divine Wine that he allowed us to use his facility for bathrooms. And the taco truck. So anyway, it was a great day, and I just want to thank everybody who came out and participated. We raised, we're still doing the final tally, but we grossed over almost $9,000, and so after we expenses, we're hoping to have a good $6,000 or $7,000. So for the local food pantries. So that's all good. And then I'm just going to mention the H&A, which I'm sure is why most people are probably here this evening. I just want to note that we've already had over 45 emails, very thoughtful, well-written. It was not just whenever emails, so they've all been saved in a file. They've all been shared with the town board. So if you sent an email, it is considered in the record. And again, it's been shared with everybody. We are having in-person interviews with the 3 proposers tomorrow. It's an executive session, not open to the public, because we're going to be getting some more of the financial and confidential information on the proposal. So that's it for announcements. We can go into the workshop. We have, our first item is here is to approve funding for the project graduation for the high schools, all of the high schools. Happy to see they're going to be having graduations of some description. Resolution number 4 is the authorization for outdoor dining. So the town board is extending the outdoor dining privilege that we've granted under our emergency orders. We are limited to 100% capacity, so it's not 100% inside and people outside. It's still going to be 100% capacity. Whatever they have to have with the indoor and the outdoor. But we're extending it. You know, some people, even if it is 100% capacity, are not comfortable going inside to crowded restaurants. So at least for the time being, or until something changes, we're going to be extending it. Okay.
Mr. till December 31st of 2000.
Just to the 10th. Yeah, I mean, unless something changes sooner, we can always terminate it, but I don't foresee being out there in December reading, but anyway. Okay, number 5, approve construction inspection services regarding a culvert replacement to Collier Engineering. Number 6 is approve lend aid to the Relay for Life. This is, I think, the Highway Department using barricades and cones, because we have another one later on coming up. Number 7 is approve award of a Gabrielli truck. Lots of trucks. Then we have our Parks Department is also going to lend aid by allowing them to use the, I guess, the showmobile. Then we have approving a flexible work schedule for one of the employees in the building maintenance mechanic for a limited period of time. And then we have lend aid. This Sunday, they're going to be naming a portion of the road down in Spark Hill after the Reverend Sanders. So that's going to be Sunday at 3 o'clock, if anybody's interested. 11 is approve lend assistance for the Wheels for Meals Ride to Fight Hunger. That's also on Sunday, this Sunday, the 13th. Fire prevention. This is creating a part-time position. As you know, we have one full-time person out on an injury, and so we're bringing in one of our former employees to do part-time work, which is the next person, Mike Bettman, who retired, is going to come in and help out in the department while our other employee gets better. And then we have budget line reallocations, which I guess Jeff can address if anybody has questions. And then we have some accepting and receiving file documents for the town clerk's office. They're all set out there. And then the audit, and then we will have an executive session again, so.
We're going to have the 4 nominees.
Oh, that's good. Is that, so that's like a new business, or I just put it on here?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have new business. We're going to be nominating 4 police officers. We are definitely down very low in the number of police officers we have, so we have an opportunity to bring on 4 new ones, and so we're going to be adding that on as another item. Okay. Okay, so on that note, can I get a motion to open the public comment? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. First on the list signed up is Susan Nemesdy.
Susan Nemesdy, Palisades. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to participate in selecting the potential buyer of the former IBM property. After watching the presentations, this past Sunday, Palisades held a community meeting to discuss the options. The presenters happened to be there. The first group, Douglas Elliman from California, and the second, Rick Cook from Cook Fox, received many questions which they answered thoughtfully with as much detail as possible. But we were stunned when presenter number 3, Billy Procida, repeatedly said that the only drawing on his presentation was not his plan. He denied his intention of adding 100 hotel rooms to the existing 206, yet it's on the drawing. And in his video, his architect, Hans Erdenberger, clearly states, and I quote, "An additional 100 approved hotel rooms will be added to the project." He denied the 180 townhomes, yet it's on the drawing. And in his video, Ken DeGennaro clearly states, and I quote, "We have developed a site plan. We've come up with the housing component." Confusingly, he kept repeating his plan was exactly the same as the first 2 presenters, which drew baffling stares from everyone. Then he said he didn't have a plan. He kept up his unhinged rant about not having access to the property, yet I was there when the town hosted the walkthrough, and he showed up with his entourage, directing his own tour as if he already owned the place. Hasn't he already twice failed to purchase this property? Didn't he do diligence then in getting information? In his presentation, he praises zoning attorney extraordinaire Don Brenner. This expert claims the H&A property has a residential zoning component, when in fact it does not. The most stunning moment came when Mr. Procida said he didn't even want this project. He hoped one of the other 2 presenters would win. Well, frankly, that is the one statement that everyone agreed with. We too want one of the other 2 presenters to win. Just for the record, for anyone who thinks 180 townhomes brings in great revenue, consider the infrastructure these will require: the water usage, sewer, road maintenance, plowing and repairs, the increase in fire, police, and emergency funds. Our already astronomical school taxes will increase even more. But of course, the builders will get a great tax break. The first 2 presentations are spectacular. Ideally, a combination of the two would be our choice. Learning from the pandemic, we must choose the one that will be sustainable, bring jobs and profit to our local community on a continuous basis, and most importantly, retain as much of the natural beauty of the former IBM Center as possible. And in closing, I'm sure Mr. Presida has lined up his usual, we need affordable housing, we want to downsize in Rockland group. Well, I've got good news for them. Just over the state line, Presida Funding is completing his newest cookie-cutter concrete townhomes on Paris Avenue, and Mr. Brenner just got approved to clear-cut 20 more acres for his massive Club at Pearl River complex. Thank you to the town board. We know your decision will be in the best interest of our community and not the developer. Thank you.
So just, okay, we'll just remind everybody, if you don't know, we do have a 3-minute limit. I'm having trouble with this, so I'm doing it on my computer here. Next, we have Vanessa Lappins. Yeah, but
Hi, everybody.
It's,
Oh.
they can see it then there. Go ahead. When you're ready.
Hey, I'm Vanessa Lappins. I live in Blauvelt. I wanted to thank you for this transparent process. I'm so heartened by proposals 1 and 2 that for a change, I have very little to say, except that I lean towards proposal 1, given its same use, speed to activation. My only request is that we create an overlay rather than a wholesale zone change, so that if we do end up putting townhomes or some other residences on the property, they can be restricted to only part of the property and not be allowed on in the whole thing. I also, given the fact that Barbara Meyer, a longtime Palisades resident who's been very involved in the whole process, isn't here tonight, I wanted to speak on her behalf. Thank you for getting ahead of the curve. Whomever is chosen will affect the existing and future comprehensive plan in a major way. If to preserve and conserve, as well as meet the financial needs of our town and county, are major tenets of the plan, we really only have 2 options: Birchwood Studios and the plan with Douglas Elliman. Neither one would clear-cut this property for dense housing as presented by Presida Woodmount Toll. The hospitality option is a vision of what can be done with no zoning changes. The question would be whether or not it can sustain ourselves through another pandemic shutdown. Birchwood Studios, although longer to get off the ground, would create new options for the 303 corridor and creating jobs for various ancillary trades. H&A is going to be the beacon in reimagining life and work in the lower Hudson Valley on our side of the river. Sincerely, Barbara Meyer, Palisades resident. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have Joe White from Palisades. Are you getting it?
Hi, I'm just speaking really as someone who's been working in the film industry for over 20 years in New York. You know, I heard these proposals, and I actually, when this first came up and I became aware of it, I'd say maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I thought a stage was a really good idea, and I reached out and spoke to 2 of the largest developers of stages in the state right now, someone who's building stages in Buffalo, and also for Lionsgate and Yonkers, and another group called Broadway Stages, which built a lot of stages in Long Island City, Greenpoint, now Staten Island. I started out as a location manager. I became a producer, and then I became an executive for the Walt Disney Corporation. I was at Marvel Television, and at the time there were no stages, and Broadway Stages actually built stages for us in Greenpoint. So I'm very familiar with the people who do it and what the process is. So I always thought it was a really great idea, and I did talk to these people about it. And frankly, they're just way too busy. Like there's something that you could all read. It's called the Deloitte Report. You can Google it, DELOITTE. And, you know, just Google Deloitte Report stages or Deloitte Report virtual production, any of these kind of things. And they will tell you that so Deloitte is basically a consultancy all over the world, and they analyze like the economies of states and cities. And they analyze New York. And they basically said so right now there's probably about 20 more stages coming online for the film industry. And it's a really unique time because of the pandemic. Supply has met demand, so there's like a real need for content creation. And it's a lot of jobs, and a lot of people come to New York with it. According to the Deloitte report, even with the 20 new stages that are coming online, and there's already 85 shows that work here regularly, we're going to see a shortage through 2024. So there is a need for this, and the state is fully behind this. Like I actually just built a technologically advanced soundstage in Long Island City, and what we're doing is so we use LED screens, and we can basically make it look like you're anywhere on the planet without ever actually leaving the room, and we don't even have to like actually build sets. It's all done in the computer. So, you know, I've been talking to everyone and hearing about it, and I've seen some of the plans. I honestly think it's a great idea. I'm a neighbor. I think that you could build something there, like, you know, you gentlemen were talking about, like, preserving what's there and just building into it. And, like, the way that the technology works right now, you don't need to build all these boxes. Like, you can do things that are much more greener and efficient, and it will create jobs. And, you know, there's a company in Long Island called Seal Equities, a gentleman by the name of Joe Lestrado. Joe and I talked about building MyStage with his company. He already owns something called Gold Coast Studios, which is a little further out in Long Island, hard to get to. But he basically bought 2 buildings in Bushwick, and he went to Netflix and he said, hey, here's a plan for me to build stages for you in these buildings. If you become the tenant for 15 years, I'll do it for you. And Netflix said yes. So I think you guys could really pitch this to someone like a Netflix or an Amazon. I've heard that the other gentleman with the townhouse plan said he spoke to NBC. NBC is legacy. CBS is legacy. Paramount is legacy. All these places are legacy. Amazon, Netflix, these are places, they're disruptors, and they have so much money because of streaming and the way it all works. Like, you have a real chance of getting people like this to take something over like this facility and turn it into a destination. So
Thank you.
I support it.
Leslie Smolin from Palisades.
Hi, I'm Leslie Smolin from Palisades. I live there. I also am the founder of Carbone Smolin Agency. We're a design consultancy that focuses on hospitality and destinations. Our clients include Mandarin Oriental, Four Seasons, Cisneros in the Dominican Republic, and others who are really trying to create what I think some of these people have proposed are destination brands. These are locations that people make a point of trying to visit because of the amenities that they offer. The first 2 proposals I'm in support of. I think there's an opportunity for those to be combined, as others have said. And I just want to share what I've learned over the 40 years of my career. There's 3 ingredients that make these places successful. We talked about what you need to have in these places for people to come back over and over again, and that's really what creates success. They are location. You have to have a property that's within 45 minutes of major airlift, and we have 3, Newark, Westchester, LaGuardia, maybe even JFK. Access to everything New York has to offer. I know some people said, oh, we're too close to New York. I think that's exactly the opposite. There are a lot of, look at the population of New York City. Lots of people would like to escape for the weekend. It's very easy to get here. Transportation could be provided. We have a unique setting. We have a history. Obviously, George Washington, the entire arts community. It's a perfect destination for weddings. I don't know if that was talked about, but there's a huge market for wedding venues, 100, 200 people easily coming out of New York City. Amenities are the number 2 component, and I think certainly the first proposal addresses that. People are looking for authentic experiences. They're not looking for cookie cutter. They don't want something they can get elsewhere. A lot of the places, I know you have 1 restaurant, the one I worked with in Mexico had 5 restaurants. It became a destination for food alone with a renowned chef, and people come back over and over again. Restaurants are always a draw. Curated experiences, they want you to bring the best of what's local to that destination, so they don't even have to go out and find it. The proposals already address that. We have artists, ceramicists, textile. These content creation are really important. The other aspect is to provide free childcare while people are at the hotel or wellness center. If the parents are relaxed and they're not worried about their kids, they'll come often. Creating a creative hub, I think, is a great opportunity. The third component, which is really important, and I don't think it's talked about a lot here, is design. So people are looking for unique design experience. This immerses you in some place that you don't live typically. It's a reason to leave home. It's a reason to dream about your next home. You might want to look at the bedding, the linens, the towels, the furniture. A lot of hotels know this is how they operate in the future. and build that in. And I would just say the third proposal, no one wants to visit a series of townhouses. That's not a destination. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the next one. Eugene Cohn from Palisades?
Hey, everybody. First of all, thanks to our council people and supervisor for the fine job you're doing. We appreciate it and appreciate your support in trying to get through this maze of variables with the HNA property. My name is Eugene Cohn. I lived in Palisades for 13 years, and in 2020, I moved to a great property in Gloucester, New Jersey, but it just ain't the same for character and the love that one feels in Palisades. And I'm in the process of moving back. Yeah. Palisades is unique, and it's a model for a pretty perfect town. We're known for our rural quality, the spacious layout, and kind of a country feeling, even though it's only 25 minutes from Manhattan. My former property was in Hayhoe Woods and backed up to the HNA property. But even if yours doesn't back up to it, there are benefits to the entire town to have that underdeveloped acreage. It's uncrowded, and it gives a feeling of spaciousness to the entire area, and even, of course, to a couple of the bordering towns. So all I want to say here, I'm not very prepared, but I wanted to implore our representatives and our residents to continue fighting for a good solution and keep investigating to see which would be the best solution. I have my preference in the projects that were presented to me through Carol Baxter's postings and stuff, but it's not for me to say here, but keep working on it because it ain't easy, and I hope that you can come up with the best option, and thank you.
Thank you. I just want to, if after you had a chance to speak, if you wouldn't mind going out, I think there may be people out there who want to come in. That might be helpful for the people. There is you can hear outside. Okay, next is Rich Ellis from Palisades. No, he was out in the back anyway.
Good evening, Supervisor Kenny and Town Board. My name is Richard Ellis. My husband and I live in Palisades, and I also own a business in Orangetown, Ellis Sotheby's International Realty. And I've been driving along the Route 9W corridor for 35 years since we've been in business. One really special thing about this area, as you all know, is the bucolic nature of it and also the history behind it. So I see, I think this is a great kind of public-private partnership that that the town board is taking on and will hopefully guide us to the right decision. I do support the Birchbrook Studios option as the strongest, and I think that's for a couple of reasons. One is I like the plan the best. I know as a realtor there's been a tremendous amount of filming, both for movies and TV production in the area. And also the history of this area has always been related to, in Palisades, to actors and actresses and other art forms. So I think it would be kind of neat to bring that back home to related to an industry that has always supported the community very much. In addition to that, I think the mechanics and the financial factor of Birchbrook, seems very sound because of all the filming and production coming to this area. So I think that's a very sound business model. About 5 years ago, I was involved with a possible hotel at the old castle in Piermont, and different groups came in to view it, and it just didn't make sense at all. And I would guess the reason HNA hasn't sold it in the past to another hotel group is because it's not really going to be that profitable. So we certainly everyone wants something that's going to, raise the taxes, support the township, be good for the community. And I think the jobs and great jobs working in film and television that can be brought to people young and old would be fantastic for the community and make it very special. So I think, all of the different projects or options seem to have to do with real estate and building, which is obviously something I do. But I think if something could be created that's very special and not ordinary, such as, again, with the Birchbrook Studios concept, I think that would be the best. I think this is a great opportunity for the town, for the community, and we should really strive to get the best possible, usage of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'm Julie Katz from Palisades.
Hi, good evening. I really don't like speaking, but I feel like it's my responsibility. So I, previous to HNA, when IBM owned the facility, I actually had all 3 of my children's bar mitzvahs there, many family reunions, used the hotel for the 10 years previous, that they owned it, almost up until the day that they left. And then I subsequently moved here to Palisades because I was, drawn to it. So I also am here to support number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is just like a no to me. It was everything I left where I used to live that it offered, and not even a mile away. And thank you for allowing us to be part of this process, and I hope that you do go with 1 or 2.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you again.
Melanie Kershaw, Blauvelt. This is on a different subject. That's okay. It breaks it up a little bit there, so good.
Okay, I'm Melanie Kershaw from Blauvelt, and I'm asking you to please reconsider your plan to extend the plan to allow the restaurants to continue their outdoor dining until the rest of the year, because we see it as problematic. Our local establishment in Blauvelt has abused their privileges by having outdoor entertainment and establishing a beer garden and not having a socially distanced place. They're very loud and so on. But there's no way for us to do anything about it except call the police. And calling the police is just not what we want to do every Saturday afternoon and Friday night. And it just doesn't seem that there needs to be if you're going to continue it, I guess, what I want to say is there needs to be a better way of enforcing what you've got going. And this isn't the only establishment that is operating at more than 100% capacity. And we're in the suburbs, and what we see is that maybe we don't necessarily really have to have outdoor dining like this, because anyone can get vaccinated and anyone can take out, if they're not vaccinated, and go onto their patio or their deck and eat their food. So it's not a desperate need in our town. And we're here to say we really have a problem. And we really need you to address it in some way rather than just rubber stamp continuing it until the end of the year without taking a good look at it. We really don't want you to just say, it's great, and let's just go with it. So I'm urging you to do that, to think about it more carefully than that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Erwin Cooperberg from Blauvelt.
Hi, I'm here for the same reason as Melanie. Actually, my wife and I moved here in 1980, and across the street, there was a kind of lazy, sleepy bar, and it's a residential neighborhood, and everything was quiet, and everything was nice, quiet, and peaceful. Now, there's this big restaurant. It's a huge business that has moved, taken over this sleepy bar, and it's got like loads of people coming there. And during the outdoor dining, they were drinking and carrying on and yelling and screaming every night. And it's very disturbing. There's nothing we can do about it. And if you continue this outdoor dining, it's going to carry on for another 6 months. And it's not like, it's a residential neighborhood. When everything was inside, it was all right, but now that it's outside, it's kind of out of control. And I saw an ad they want to have like this concert, July something or other, outside, and they're inviting everybody to come to it. So I don't understand this whole thing. So anyway, that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Okay. The next name is Nikki Mulholland from Blauvelt.
Hi, I'm Nikki Mulholland from Blauvelt. I'm going to continue with the same vein that my neighbors are. Thank you, Supervisor Kenny, for responding to my email in regards to the live outdoor music. Just like Erwin just said, we lived in this quiet neighborhood, and Paul Bailey for the past 10 years has been looking for outdoor dining and a beer garden, for which he has petitioned the planning board and has been denied every time. The reason being is because he cannot keep this noise inside, and all we are asking for as neighbors is for it to be kept inside. He advertised and did collect money for the School of Rock to have an outdoor concert last Saturday, which, until I called the police, continued on, and he was going to have music all day and all night. That being said, I understand that that's not allowed. The building department is going to make sure that he no longer is permitted to do that. But this is the type of a property owner that will ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And we've been living with it for a long time. So he has the restaurant, he has the takeout, he has the eatery. I think that he has plenty of room to be inside. And I think that extending this through the summer is just unbearable for those of us who live there. If asked about it, he denies that anything is wrong. Currently, there is outdoor dining on the deck, and he doesn't actually even have a certificate of occupancy for that area. But as well, once again, instead of asking for permission, he asks for forgiveness, asking that you do not extend this or consider not extending this. Cuomo had said that once we reach 70% and we are at 68, that everything can be back to 100%. So we're just imploring you to please not do this, or give us a recourse for having someone who does not follow the rules to have that outdoor dining permit revoked. We are, not a lot of my neighbors are here, but it bothers everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Harold Hildebrand from Palisades.
Hi, my property is adjacent to the H&A property in Palisades. Well, I've lived in Palisades for only 7 years. I'm a Rockland County resident for over 20 years, raising 3 kids in our fantastic school system, and they're still going through it now. Without question, the Palisades residents pay the highest rate of taxes than any other area in the county. This has been a reasonable trade-off for access to the school district, to maintain privacy, and experience the serenity of Palisades, and certainly the wildlife that Palisades has to offer. I have extremely serious concerns regarding any proposals for high-density residential development found in the preceded proposal, especially considering the events of this past weekend in Tallman State Pool Park that he was involved in as well. Additionally, I'm alarmed at the Atlas Cook Fox proposal, which would place 50-foot-high production studios immediately behind my house, as well as several of my neighbors' houses. And if you look at what happened at Sergeant DeMola Road in Blauvelt with the Bradley Corporate Park that's behind that, that would be a mirror of what would happen to my house and certainly my neighbors' houses in Palisades. So additionally, the noise of the trucks and other equipment would pollute the serenity that we currently enjoy. We have personally witnessed the trash left behind by the production studios and heard the noise of the trucks who park in the H&A Palisades parking lot now, although they only do this on occasion. While it's not an issue once in a while, 5 days a week, it would be horrible to experience. Please consider the Kitchen Paleo proposal as the only viable option for development of the former H&A Palisades Center of the 3 proposals. And I understand there's no guarantees regarding this, but certainly any sort of zoning changes, it asks that you restrict them to the residential area only and not, change the zoning like you've already done once for H&A itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Cook from Palisades.
Hi, Rick Cook, Palisades resident, also presenter number 2. And I just wanted to say a couple things. Number one, I had a chance to meet Mr. Hildebrand and tell him and give him my personal word that we would do everything we possibly could to mitigate both the visual and acoustical issues related to have a commercial use next to his residential property. I think it is important, though, to state in context that the existing H&A property is zoned OP, which allows for 1.8 million square feet of use as of right, no zoning change, and a 94-foot height limit, pre-existing to the Kopek Lane subdivision. So that's just underlying zoning that his property abuts, regardless of Birchbrook Studio. Number 2, this was built as a high-intense use IBM conference facility with full catering kitchen, walk-in boxes, the most spectacular kitchen I've walked in my professional career, as well as 206 hotel rooms and an additional 100 hotel rooms approved not too long ago. All of that facility is served off of the road that comes in. When you come in, it splits off to the right to the entry. It goes to the left and into a loading dock facility, which unfortunately also faces back to Mr. Hildebrand's property. But all of that use is served through loading docks immediately adjacent to the residential property. Number 3, many of us here tonight were involved in talking about the Kopek Lane residential subdivision on the former driving range. And I'm proud to say that because of everybody's work, there's a buffer at 9W and there's kind of an elegant bend to Kopek Lane right now. What I regret is that we did not together insist on a buffer between the residential use and the pre-existing OP commercial use. And I think some of the heartbreak that Mr. Hildebrand and his very nice neighbor, who I also met, I didn't catch his name, next to him, they have very real concerns about a commercial use behind them. And I give my word that we will do everything in our power to mitigate it if we are the successful bidders. And I just want to say again, I'm here because I'm a neighbor and we must find the right use for this property. I'm not a developer. I'm here to try to make sure we find the right use. And with that, I give my word that I'll do anything I possibly can to mitigate the issues of a commercial use next to Mr. Hildebrand and his neighbor's property immediately adjacent. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carla Malouf from Palisades, if I'm saying that right?
Thank you very much for this opportunity to be heard. My name is Carla Malouf. I live with my husband in Palisades on Closter Road. We've lived there since 2013 and have really worked hard to improve the home we purchased to make it more in keeping with the natural beauty of the neighborhood. I've listened to the presentations on Zoom the other day and again on Sunday at one of the community gatherings in Palisades. The first two presentations were thoughtful, thorough, and in keeping with the spirit of the neighborhood, with a use case for the land that seeks to respect the environment and preserve and enhance what is already there. The Presida presentation, however, appeared ill-prepared and lacking any substance. There was no plan. And from what I can tell, there is no plan. It was more about the individuals on the taped Zoom call versus ideas, innovation, community inclusion, and value creation that was presented by the other two ideas. Mr. Presida followed up on Sunday in Palisades, arriving late with a litany of erratic comments that can only be described as disrespectful, confusing, and off base. Please do not give Mr. Presida, Woodmont, and Toll Brothers a bigger platform that is just louder, but certainly not better. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. I have a Fred, LHLE. Fred, right? Does it say Fred? Looks like that. Oh, here he's coming. I got enough that he figured out it was going.
Set my timer so I'll make sure I don't go over. Okay. My name's Fred Little. I live in Palisades. I've lived there since 1986. My mother-in-law is Alice Gerard, a local historian. I mention that not to say that I'm going to speak for her in any way, but I want to bring a little historical context to this because I'm old enough that I remember the hearings for the IBM Conference Center and the changes that were granted so that that could happen, and the assurances that the community was given that this is the last series of changes we're going to see on this property. IBM is a stable, solid corporate tenant. They're going to be as solid as Bell Labs. You don't need to worry about it. And more recently, HNA came back and they asked for 100 more rooms, and guess what? They got them. We'd been told before, not going to happen. It happened. I've seen the Copac Lane development, which was supposed to happen in a very, very short period of time with a lot of landscaping that the developers assured us was going to happen, and the town boards assured us was going to happen. And guess what? The developers flipped the project onto somebody else, and there was no surety bond in place, and it didn't happen. And again, promises were not kept. So the historic promise was that this property was not going to be developed further. At the moment, my understanding is that they are not in arrears on their taxes. There's no legitimate public purpose to be served by a condemnation through eminent domain, and I'm not sure what we're doing here. We're kind of picking winners and losers before a game has even started. And if that's what we have to do, then obviously I would prefer the proposal which has the least impact. But that impact isn't just on the community of Palisades, and Palisades and Sparkill is not the only community served. Every square foot of hardscape on that property is going to raise the albedo on that property. So right now, it's a heat sink. The air conditioning bill of everybody on 340 is going to go up with everything that's built there. We've got water management problems already in Sparkill. Those are going to be serious, and there are strategies to mitigate them, but it's not going to catch and release the way it would in that natural system. So there are costs of loss of natural systems on that property that are going to be paid by every resident in Orangetown one way or another. And I think that we need to be very careful here and not rush to unnecessary development when we are not counting the costs that we may incur for our children and our grandchildren as we do. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so that's everyone who has signed up. Is there anybody else here who would like to speak? Carol, you can come up first. Just raise your hand when.
Good evening, Supervisor Kenny and the Town Board. I'd like you
you have a beautiful view of Palisades right here. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. It's really that important. I'd like to speak for the community and thank you for providing this opportunity to view the presentation online and also to speak tonight. I believe that this process of the RFEI has been a positive one, creating a proactive approach to seeking out new, exciting, and an appropriate buyer. As you know, we have been watching this sale very carefully over the last 2 years. Words cannot express what this property means to us. In Palisades this year, we have worked diligently seeking and reaching out investors, developers, architects nationwide, introducing them to this amazing property with a visual vision document. And we continue to be committed to helping you all find the right buyer. When IBM was developed over 40 years ago, they brought a forward-thinking, innovative center to our community. IBM met with the community many times over the years to learn what we value, and the outcome was a very beautiful and modern building, preserving the natural world around us. Over the years, we have, in our different meetings, we have gathered what we want. We want the preservation of the environment, sensitivity to the natural wooded setting, retention of the seclusion, the privacy of the property, no or little zone change, remain on the tax rolls, a forward-thinking use such as innovative technologies like film, video, content creation, the use of environmental building materials and energy-efficient modalities, long-term sustainability. We do not want to be here again in a couple of years. Oh, that wasn't you. Creative job creation, not just creating jobs, but utilizing the artistic and professional talent from the region to be the heart of the project. What we don't want high-density, multifamily, cookie-cutter homes necessitating the clear cutting of the property that will stress the environment, traffic, our school systems, and our natural resources. We all know this property is a gem. It deserves a use that is thoughtful and unique. Presentations 1 and 2 fit that bill. They are thoughtful, creative, sensitive to the talents of our community and region, and explicitly value the natural world, and they want to retain it. Presentation 3, as was mentioned at our recent meeting, said that he does not have a plan, and that the plan that he had in his video was not his plan of 306 hotel rooms, 180 townhouses. The entire property will be clear-cut. A small luxury hotel with Anyway, thank you. We're here. We know you've got a big job ahead of you, and we're here. Thank you for everything you're doing to make the appropriate buyer available. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Karen. Okay.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Eileen Larkin. I've been a resident of Palisades for over 50 years. I'm here to support the presentations of Douglas Elliman and Rick Cook, Birchbrook Studios, for the H&A site. Here is why. Phase 1 of the Douglas Elliman introduction sees the 106 acres as beautiful, and the architecture befits the region and history. With that in mind, they are proposing a rethink of the conference buildings to help the property creatively, I know I'm not saying it correctly, and meet its unrealized potential. Their vision sees a reimagined haven for the next generation of great thinkers, creators, engineers, and artists. Phase 2 sees only 20 to 30 townhouses, as opposed to the Proceda / Woodmount / Toll Brothers / Wyndham Hotel vision of 180 townhomes, not age-restricted, and 306 hotel rooms. There are some of the opinion that their proposal will generate tax revenues for the town. However, the impacts to our school enrollment, sewer treatment plant, police, volunteer fire and ambulance services, road maintenance, traffic on residential areas of Route 340, Route 9W will be more costly and offset any tax revenues. When John Collins sold the property to IBM back in the 80s, the Palisades Civic Association met with them, and we were so proud of the way they presented their plans, and I was so happy to see them finally come to Palisades. They were very good neighbors. As an elected official in the 90s, I met with President Bill Clinton, who had come to IBM to attend the National Governors Conference. It was a very proud time for the whole town of Palisades to host the president. The future of the site is in your hands. Please consider the Douglas Elliman and Rick Cook visions for the site, as they will provide local technology, woodworking, textile workshops, a wellness center, biodynamic farming, movie and theater production, jobs. The words that we always want to see are more jobs. Jobs build lives. The Proceda project will house $180 million homes for a few. The Douglas Elliman Rick Cook vision will be for all people to benefit from as time goes on. And as my 7-year-old grandson said to me today when he was asking me what I was doing and what I was looking at, I explained to him, and I was showing him some pictures. He said, I love rooftop gardening. Everything grows so fast. I was going to bring him here tonight to kind of break him into public speaking, but he wouldn't go along with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Come on up, Barbara.
Hi, my name's Barbara, and I'm not from Palisades. I'm from Blauvelt, Barbara Dello. And the reason I'm here is about planning for the future of the town, which is certainly coming up with the new comp plan, and that will kind of determine to a large extent what our town will look like. And every time, I better put on my glasses. Every time I think I see a new $1 million development or hear the prices of senior housing being built on Orangeburg Road and Veterans Corridor, I think of something that happened to me on one of my many trips to Washington. I was in a cab, and every time I would go, I would see more old attached houses knocked down and more concrete and more steel as Washington was being rebuilt. And I said to the cab driver, I said, you know, at first I kind of thought it was ugly, but I said, it's coming along and it looks pretty nice. I said, how do the people here like it? And he said, we can't afford to live here. They put in all these big fancy buildings, and all the people who live here have to move out. And we all have to move to Maryland. So my questions are things like, are the senior housing along Veterans Parkway and Orangeburg Road really designed for the residents who live here? Or can many of them not afford the type of housing we're putting in?
I know.
My fear is, as we see more and more new development with $1 million homes and, you know, very upscale development, will our children be able to stay here? Many of, you know, if say you have 3 or 4 children, maybe one of them or 2 of them will be making the kind of money that can move into $1 million home. And maybe the other 2 will no longer be welcome in the town because we've zoned in such a way that they won't be able to afford to stay here. I realize, I'm aware, that builders can realize more profit on high-end condos and $1 million homes than on independent starters homes like Cape Cods or family ranches. And probably we do need some of both. But I ask that you who sit on the town board consider the needs of the residents before the needs of the builders and the real estate professionals. Oh. And I guess I just want to end by saying that our town is, Blood-Elk and Orangetown is very special because of the continuity of here. The families, the extended families, and the generations that have lived here. And wouldn't it be so sad if we zoned and planned in a way that our young people and our seniors are no longer welcome in our community? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else who has not spoken who would like to, I see a hand, come on. And if you just say your name for the record, please, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Susan Beckerman. I live at 1 Copac Lane, so I'm newer to the community. I've been there for about 4 years. I think I'm speaking for myself and my husband, and I think a lot of my neighbors as well that couldn't be here tonight. We moved to this, my husband and I personally moved to this area because we wanted to start a family, and it's a quiet residential area with privacy and neighbors that respect one another. I'm particularly concerned about what went on at Tolman Park. I think it was either yesterday or over the weekend. You know, I moved out of Manhattan after living there for 18 years to specifically get away and not have my children see that type of behavior. During the presentations where the third presenter spoke about his proposal in his video, he prided himself on participating in the community and giving back to the community in his Tolman renovations of the pool. So I think that speaks volumes of how he would treat other projects. While I know it's run by the state now, and perhaps he would not take ownership for what happened, he was happy to claim ownership and have that be the main representation of his contribution to the community. So, and I think I'm highly concerned about any sort of dense population or multifamily projects going in for all the neat reasons that a number of the other folks spoke about: stress on the schools, infrastructure, needing of traffic lights and more police officers, et cetera. Thank you.
Thank you. And anybody else, please? Anybody else want to speak that hasn't had a chance? Anybody in the back there? You can hear me? Anyone want to speak? Nope. Okay. Motion to close. We got a motion to close. Do I have a second? Second, Jerry Bottari. All in favor? Aye. That was a lot. I'm just going to give my 2 cents for what it's worth. I clearly watched the presentations closely, and I was disappointed is the word, I'll be polite, with the last presentation. I thought it was not responsive to what we asked for. I think that a lot of people had to go back to the submission to see even what the proposal was. People didn't know. I also found some of the remarks insulting, and I felt it appropriate to reach out to H&A and apologize, which I did. Unfortunately, it was a video, so I couldn't stop the video. I couldn't stop anybody. This process from the beginning has been cooperative with H&A. Back from day one, we reached out to them. The thought process was that it would be a win-win. I actually see it as a win-win-win. It's going to win for the town. It's going to win for hopefully for the developer and whatever ends up being there, whether it be jobs or whatever. And for H&A, I mean, we always, one of the issues is that during the pandemic, the value of the hotel, and it was not functional, was a problem. So we thought this was a win-win-win, and that's how we've always presented it. And I, like I said, I reached out and I apologized on behalf of the town for the fact that it was out there. And I still hold firm that it's going to be a win-win-win for everybody. So all of your comments, your emails, they're being listened to. Everyone that I get, it goes right to the town board. We all have them. We're all reading them. Like I said, some of them were very thoughtful. They weren't just, I like one or I like two. They were really thoughtful, written out with why and whatever. And what I always say from tonight is we're going to have a tough decision ahead of us. But thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything.
Yep. Just a little spoke about why we're doing this. And the reason we're doing it is we realize that H&A is not a viable solution for Palisades. They've tried to sell the property, that didn't go through. The uses allowed there are some uses that I know everyone in this room wouldn't like to see happen. So Teresa and the board decided that we want to play a proactive role and bring in uses that will be acceptable to the town board and the residents in Palisades and the residents of Orangetown. That's why we're doing this. We're being proactive because if we're not, we're going to be left with something we don't want. As far as the presentations, I thought 1 and 2 were awesome. They presented things that would be great in this community. As far as presentation number 3, it was a waste of our time, and I will never vote for it.
Tom, tell us how you really feel.
I will never vote for it.
So, just to bank on what Tom said, pretty much he covered everything. I mean, everybody realizes our role is limited, right? It's a private piece of property. But we can try to guide the sale, which will make it more acceptable to H&A to take the developer that we recommend. That doesn't mean they have to, right? Because there's still a financial obligation that's going to have to be met to provide the property. And the company or the team or idea that wins still has to meet and make a deal with H&A. So we're guiding it in hopes that that will help them say, all right, this is a good proposal. We can get out from underneath this property because H&A, from what I understand, could be in a little bit of trouble. So that's what we're doing here. We have a limited role, but we're taking our role very, very seriously. I found presenter number 3 actually insulting. They didn't meet anything that we asked them to do, and it was more of a sales pitch of a team than it was of a plan for the property. And I basically found it insulting. And I agree with Tom, 1 and 2 are going to be a tough decision, but the first 2 presenters did a really good job, and I really appreciate the input from everybody who came out here tonight to speak on the property and give their opinion. It's important to us, and it's important to you, and it's important to the political process, so that we're trying to meet the needs of the community. So, thank you.
It's going to be hard to beat what just went through, but I'll speak for myself and Dennis, who could not be here tonight. We did speak on this. I will thank you for all your emails that came. I have a bunch of them, read them all, agree with it, agree with the rest of the board. And we did get into this to preserve Orangetown. It wasn't to control anything by any means. It was to help H&A, the community, and the town. Everybody's going to get a piece of this, and hopefully it'll work out the way we are planning it. But I would have to agree with everybody else. I enjoyed 1 and 2 much better, and I won't even speak about 3. Thanks again for coming out, and thanks for the emails, and they are saved on my computer, and I can read them. Thank you.
So we're just going to take a couple-minute break before we go into the regular meeting in case anybody wants to leave or grab a glass of water or talk to the 2 developers. Have you guys met each other? They seem to want you guys to work together, so go figure it out. I'm sure you did. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Okay, if everybody would just, we're going to start the meeting back up.
You want to stay, stay. If you don't, leave.
Thank you. Okay, exactly. You want to sit? Shut up. Okay. Okay. Should I call Jane first, I think, and to ask about the, okay. Where'd she go? Wasn't she just here a minute ago? Jane? Oh, there she is. Yeah. I'm on. Thanks to him. Okay, Jane, would you mind just stepping up here? We want to talk about the outdoor dining, kind of some of the issues that we're encountering with the outdoor dining. And
Right, so the outdoor dining was obviously meant for the restaurants to try to recoup some of the losses for being closed for so long and to deal with the social distancing and the regulations that the governor had set forth for COVID. So the expansion of the outdoor dining outside was to, again, allow, to sort of relieve some of our zoning laws, which normally outdoor dining is not permitted without special permits. So the town board moved forward to do that, and it was working well. We do have an application that is free for the restaurants to come in and do, and we assist them with laying it out to make sure it meets all life safety requirements and health code requirements, things like that. The outdoor entertainment was never permitted. In fact, early on in COVID, the governor was really strict about there was no entertainment permitted at all. That was part of his COVID regulations. But on top of that, our zoning laws don't permit outdoor entertainment at the restaurants. So it's not permitted, and we have been told recently that some of the restaurants are starting to do that. And when we do receive a complaint, we let the operator know that they cannot do that. So it's not part of COVID relief.
And if there's more than one complaint or verified complaints or whatever, there is a mechanism to revoke their special permit for the outdoor dining?
Yes, it can basically be revoked for any cause by myself or the town board. That's the way it's written.
so just, because I know one of the complaints, totally unrelated to the Blueville situation, was in Pearl River, like it's on a Friday night. So is there something, if the police get the call, I mean, would they take a complaint and then your office would deal with it on Monday, or?
Well, the police should advise them that this is not permitted by code, and
Apparently
again,
they
I
did,
can't speak for the
apparently,
police and what
yeah.
actions, but yes, they could file, we would get the report on Monday, and the officer could probably give a supporting deposition that says that they were out there and they observed it. If there is more of an issue, the fire inspector can also be called out, because it could be that they might be over their capacity limits as well, and that would be the fire inspector. So I did speak to the chief about that, and we can make an inspector available if the need arises.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
That is the procedure that we're going to do as far as moving forward.
Okay, yeah, because we had the other establishment that apparently was warned and then did it again anyway.
Chief, would you shut them down that night?
No, because I don't think that's within our, legally, that we could shut a business down. I don't believe if they had to try to the extra.
Well, but you could probably start the band, right?
Yeah, we would tell the band they could, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, if it seems to be an overcrowding issue, the chief and I did speak about it, to give us a call and I'll send somebody out.
Okay, good,
Okay.
thanks. Okay, okay, we can get to the agenda. We have item number 3. This is approving the project graduation dollar amounts that are there in the resolution for all of the high schools. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Paul, second? Jerry, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so number 4, so before we just do it, Rob, is it, do we need to add anything to this, or it's what we just discussed, it's kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it can't hurt. I think, as Jane just said, it's not permitted, but if you want to make it clear at the end of the last, be it further resolved, just say, after sanitary facilities, say, and live outdoor entertainment is not permitted. Right, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, it's the first, it's this?
The
second to last one?
I'm sorry, the last one.
Okay, now is there, they
After
come on?
sanitary facilities and outdoor entertainment or live outdoor.
Do you want to add at the end and?
Yeah, is not
So,
permitted.
Well, you can,
But it's already not permitted, but just to make it clear, so it's in this
well, if you want to make
resolution.
it clear, then after sanitary facilities, you can put comment, any violation of the foregoing conditions will be a reason to revoke your special permit.
Yeah, I want them to be on notice, because it's
Yeah, just
other
put it in
business,
there,
we
like-
warned them, and then he went and did it again, so.
Right, so add the end,
Something-
other outdoor entertainment is not permitted, period.
Right.
Any violation,
Can
may-
result in revoking.
revocation of
your
authorization. Which was in the original
Right, okay,
back in June of 2020.
okay. Okay. Rosanna, you got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have to actually vote on an amendment, or no, it's good? Right, just one, okay, because another thing. Okay, so can I get a motion on authorizing for the outdoor dining, as we just made the changes? Tom, second? Paul, all in favor? Aye. Okay, highway, approved construction inspection services to Innovative Plastic Culvert Colliers Engineering and Design. This involves the Sparkill Creek. Can I get a motion? Tom, second?
Yes.
Jerry Vittori, all in favor?
I think that's the Mountain View Avenue, they were like a couple of days before, but there was
Yeah.
one into that.
Does anybody know where Isabel, is there an Isabel Court or something?
There isn't a dam.
Does that get flooded?
No, basic foundation. Jane has pictures.
What happened at Isabel? Isabel? Something happened at Isabel?
Yes, there was some severe flooding that happened from the rainstorm
Yeah.
just a few hours ago, and it took out part of the foundation of a house, and the basements of 3 houses were filled with water. So that's why I'm kind of a little disheveled, because I went there on the way here in the rain. There's an inspector out there now that's helping, and they called in the Red Cross. So
Okay.
everybody's safe, nobody's hurt, but it's a mess. And all of Western Highway has debris all over it, mud, and it was just a deluge. The ground just couldn't handle the amount of water that came
I
through.
could not believe what was going on 303 across from where they're doing the construction.
Yeah.
There was so much, I've never seen it. It had to be 2 foot high and it went right down into
That was the craziest thing.
Right, so even down in front of Lowe's there, that intersection, that was underwater, and I've never seen that. And I drive that way every single day, so, yeah, so it was just bad.
Isabel, off Independence, I never remember them having a problem with it.
No, but if you stand at that house, you can see how the road and everything drains that way, and I just think it was just so much rain so fast.
Yeah. I was
And-
on Common Road earlier, and it was like flooded. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
It ripped up the lawn and everything, so, we'll send you pictures if you guys want to see it, but there's an inspector out there now.
Eamon, how'd you guys do?
No overflows, so that's good. Did lose power at a couple stations and had to go out and do maintenance. No overflows.
Okay, good news. It's always good when the sewers don't overflow. Okay. Okay, so number 5, approve lend assistance to the 2021 Relay for Life this Saturday, June 12th. This is for the Highway Department. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Paul Valentine, second. Jerry Vittori, all in favor? Aye. I'll let you do the next one. Number 7, approved award for the bid for Gabrielli truck for one new heavy-duty plow truck with wings and accessories. Sounds fancy. Okay, can I get a motion? Tom, second. Jer- All in favor? I don't know, I feel like we buy more trucks than I even know what to do with, whatever. Okay, number 8, approve lend aid for the 2020 Relay for Life. This is the Parks and Rec, it's the Showmobile. Can I get a motion? Tom, second. Jerry, all in favor? Aye. Number 9, approve the flexible work schedule for building maintenance mechanic from June 14th to October 15th.
I make a motion.
Okay, that's Paul Valentine. Second?
Yes.
Jerry Vittori, all in favor? Aye. Approve lend assistance for this is again for this weekend Reverend Sanders Road dedication and memorial service, June 13th at 3 PM. Can I get a motion?
Paul.
Jerry
Paul.
made it, Paul
Jerry,
moved
Paul.
second, all in favor? Aye. God, you move up to the big table and now you're like, you know.
Now you won't be quiet.
I'm looking at Jeff's head now.
Okay, keep it up, we'll be putting you back down on the kids' table. Okay. Number 11, approve land assistance for the Wheels for Meals Ride to Fight Hunger. Again, this is Sunday, June 13th. This is Highway, Police, and Parks. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Paul Valentine, all in favor? Number 12 is creating a fire safety inspector part-time in the Department of Fire Prevention Bureau. Motion?
Yes.
Okay, Jerry Batari, second.
Yep.
Tom Divany, all in favor? Number 13, appoint Mike Bettman, Fire Safety Inspector, part-time, effective June 9, 2020. Motion? Paul Valentine, second.
Yep.
Jerry Batari, all in favor? Aye. 14, approve 2020 final budget line reallocation. Jeff, you just want to explain what's happening? It's funny math is what it is, but whatever.
So basically, we're finishing up our audit, and so these are the budget line adjustments that the auditors want to do, because we basically have to have everything match up at the end of the day so that each line is zeroed out. So that's all that is. There's no impact on fund balance, but it's zeroing out each of the lines.
Okay. Makes no sense to me, but okay. Okay, can I get a motion? Jerry Batari, second Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so now we have to add in our new item, is that we have to add in, I guess it's going to be, do we have to do these separately?
What, you want to do the town clerks? Or?
There's still one more page.
Oh, what'd I do? Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, okay. Accept, a motion to accept, receive, file the documents in the town clerk's office. I already have people voting on it and everything, so I'm clearly behind. Can I get a motion? Jerry Batari, okay, second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor? That's exactly who I had voted on it already, so. Okay, now we're doing the officers? We have to do one by one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a, nominate Jason Velez for police officer in the Orangetown Police Department. Can I get a motion?
Yes.
Jerry Batari. Second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Second, we have a motion to nominate Officer Dervin Cherry. It's a position of police officer in the Orangetown Police Department. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor? Aye. We have a resolution to nominate Savannah Dooley to the position of police officer in the Orangetown Police Department.
I make a motion.
Okay, Paul Valentine, second. Tom Divany, all in favor? Aye.
Yep.
And then we have a motion to nominate Anthony Danilewski to the position of police officer in the Orangetown Police Department. Jerry Batari, move. Second.
Yep.
Tom Divany, all in favor? Aye. Okay, in that very specific order. Okay. The
Okay.
audit.
The audit for tonight's meeting consists of 3 warrants for a total of $2.7 million. The first warrant had 1 voucher for $21,000 and was for the streetlight contract with NYPA. The second warrant had 52 vouchers for $385,000. Items of interest, number 1 and 2, applied golf contracts. Number 3, the CSEA Employee Benefit Fund, $31,000 for dental benefits. The third warrant had 126 vouchers for $2.2 million. Items of interest, number 4, Gabrielli Truck Sales, $235,000 for a highway Packard truck, that's bonded money. GAC Incorporated, number 5, $153,000 for the traffic signals, also bonded money. Number 8, Jack Doheny Companies, $400,000 for a sewer combo truck, also bonded money. Number 10, Lothrop Associates, $132,000 for the town hall design. Number 11, Michael Maloney, $128,000 for a refund of a performance bond. Number 12, New York State Department of Civil Service, $915,000 for health care benefits. Number 14, Sport Tech Acrylics, $31,000 for cracked repairs at Veterans. Number 15, the State Comptroller, $38,000 for justice fines. And number 16, Tilcon, $23,000 for highway materials. Any questions on the audit?
No? Okay, motion to accept the audit?
Motion.
Tom Divany, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
We have executive.
I don't think we need
Nope.
executive
Nah.
session. Does anybody have any executive session? No. Okay, so
Nope.
then, on that note, we're going to be adjourning in memory of Julia Connolly, a resident of Tapan, mother of Matt Connolly and Chris Connolly, town employees.
Moved.
Moved. Tom Divany, second. Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. And on that note, everyone have a good night.